evening, and welcome to Free Thought Forum, brought to you by Pennsylvania Nonbelievers. We call ourselves atheists, agnostics, secular humanists. Others call us heathens and heretics. But what we don't believe is that any human can actually give us a supernatural being who cares whether we worship them or not. I'm your host this evening, Carl Huber, and with me is the love of my life, Cheryl Huber. Good evening. Say hello, Cheryl.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, no George Burns and Gracie Allen here. So the all-important disclaimers next, that the opinions expressed by the host, the guests, or callers to this show are not those of Comcast, White Rose Community Television, any of their officers or respective boards of directors, or anyone other than the person speaking. A short way of saying, in the land of the litigant, the one-sentence disclaimer is king. This is a live call-in show. You're welcome to call in with any questions you have about non-belief, and please be brief, don't ramble or attempt to proselytize, and certainly be considerate, courteous. On the TV there in the lower left-hand corner, you see it's been 3,199 days since the very first Free Thought Forum show, in which we asked Jesus to show up and tell us what the right way is, and so far, no Jesus. So, anybody know where Jesus is? You'll have to let us know. Just give us directions or a MapQuest address. All right, we have our standard challenges to prove any of the supernatural events in the Bible actually occurred, prove any effects of prayer, prove that America was founded as a Christian nation, that abortion is more dangerous to women than giving birth, or that marriage between gay people is any way harmful to the marriage of any other people. And you had one to add.
Well, that's
you want to do that later?
Yes,
do
I
that
do
later.
want to do that
okay,
later.
Cheryl will add her little challenge later. Okay, not much news this month. The original York County example of sexting, a local pastor who was sending inappropriate stuff to a 13-year-old girl, has pleaded nolo contendere, meaning he will not contest the charges. So obviously he doesn't believe that Jesus will get him off if he asks. And the other thing in the news is the woman returned to Minnesota with her 13-year-old son. The boy was diagnosed with a treatable form of diabetes that could be cured through what?
Leukemia.
Leukemia. Well, it could be treated through chemotherapy and radiation treatment with a 95% or 95% chance of a cure. And she said no, she wanted to go. Her religion forbade him from doing that, so she talked him into telling the judge that his religion, the child's religion, forbade him from being cured, that they would go to some American Indian cures that are not cures. And now, so when the judge went after her, she fled to Mexico, but now has returned. And of course, because it was a religious thing, they're going to drop the charges of attempted obstruction of justice and whatever they would have charged her with had she been an atheist. Okay. So, the call-in number is 846-5067 for any questions or comments. And so you may call in at any time. And just to let you know that not this show, but very likely the next one, will be streamed live over the internet, so you can actually call us up from your computer, as most WRCT programs will be streamed on the internet. Okay, now, why is a husband and wife team here to talk tonight? Cheryl and I appear tonight to talk how we came to reject the Christian dogma that we were exposed to during our early life, and how we dealt with the family who was imbued in the Christian faith. It has only been 11,714 days since Cheryl and I have been united in a completely secular ceremony that we wrote for our wedding. And it was a real pain finding 1983. I mean, it was easy enough counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through all the calendars, but 1983 was hard to find, so I just had to guess a little bit. I'm being sarcastic, okay. Anyhow, our vows were made without reliance on some hypothetical supernatural being. So 11,000 years later, or 11,000 days later, years.
Not quite.
Not quite. Anyhow, so I guess I'll present how I came to atheism with some side information that fits. Now, it may not be interesting. However, it may be instructive to those who are struggling with issues of how to approach outing themselves about non-belief. But I did go to Catholic school. When I was, even before I was old enough to go to grade school, I was sent to Holy Child Nursery during the days while my dad and mom worked. The only thing I remember from Holy Child is the one day I was sick and I didn't get to slide down the tube that from the second floor that was a fire escape. It's the only thing I remember, other than we took naps in the afternoon. However, later my daughter went to the school because it happened to be on my way to work, and turned out the same nuns were there 27, 28 years later, and I thought they were ancient when I went. But that's beside the point. So I was exposed to nuns very early, 4 or 5 years old, and yeah, they were nice people, just wore funny clothes. So in first grade, about the only thing I remember, and this is proves that a propensity toward wordplay is must be genetic, because my mom met my first grade nun teacher who said that I was the terror of the schoolyard, and my mom commented that because of my falling down all the time, I was also the terror of pants. And that was my first experience with a pun, which I thought was really funny, and has led me to have a love affair with words, their meanings, and words that sound similar.
You just took one of the things I was going to talk about.
I did?
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, okay. That's the way it goes. We didn't collaborate on this, really. Third grade, I got the, what is that, would that be called? That's not legendary. The knuckle rapping with the ruler from the nun.
Daily.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the stereotypical viewpoint of Catholic education, that you get your knuckles rapped by a nun hitting you on the knuckles with a ruler. That was something. Fourth grade, we changed schools because we moved from one side of York to the other. So from out of St. Rose to St. Joseph, York,